right. There you go. Let's do that.
Be nation specific.
Acts.
The terms Gentile, stranger, and foreigner are terms. They're not nationalities.
Those from the house of Herod are what?
Well, you know how to read the Bible.
Yes.
Quote the chapter and verse.
They're Edomites, aren't they?
Quote the chapter and verse.
They're Edomites, correct?
Yeah, we heard you say Herod was the last Edomite. You didn't.
No. I never said that. I said one of the last mentioned. He's not. I never said he was the last Edomite. That's not what they misrepresented me. He is one of the last mentioned, and Tahar even said he's right, one of the last mentioned. I never said he was the last one. I didn't say that. Okay, so here we are in Acts chapter 26, and it's very important what is said here. To King Agrippa the Edomite. You said you want an Edomite? Now look at this. King Agrippa, do you believe in the prophets? I know that you believe. And Agrippa said to Paul, in a short time, would you persuade me to be a Christian, not a member of GMS or be a Christian? You guys need to be Christians. Amen. Now it says, and Paul said, whether short or long, I would to God that not only you, the Edomite, he's an Edomite. He's an Edomite. Now I knew you were going to go there, so let me cut you off at the pass. I got you.
Context for the viewers.
Before he left, Agabus, the prophet, prophesied, you're going to get bound up in Jerusalem. Yes or no?
So if a man
and hold up, let me finish.
Go ahead, John.
And he said to Agabus, don't worry about it, bro. We can go there if you want to. He said, I'm not only willing to be bound up, like remember he did the sermon illustration with his belt, I'm willing to die. Now you want to turn Paul from strong man to sissy because you can't handle the fact that he wanted an Edomite to be saved. You're saying what was about to be happening? He was lying so that he could get out of it because the Bible says you agree with that ecclesia quickly, but that's not what it says.
You see
what it says is,
you see why I say he already done this many times.
Whether I'm bound or get killed, I'm good for it. Now, why did Paul change his mind according to you when he stands in front of Agrippa? Did he sell out? Did he cower? No, he did not. Yes, I did. Agrippa's an Edomite, and he said, you and all those who hear me. Then why did Paul want him to be a Christian? Why did Paul want him to be a Christian?
Yes or no?
Why did Paul want him to be a Christian?
Does that scripture say the Lord
he says he wants him to be a Christian. He says he wants him to be a Christian.
Shalom. We're the Hebrew Israelites. Come out every week to prophesy the downfall of the wicked kingdom called America, also known as Babylon in the scriptures, also known as spiritually Assyria, Nineveh, spiritually Egypt. All right. So with that being said, before we do so, we're going to give praises to the Most High and His Son in the true Hebrew, man. You know, His only begotten Son, Yahushua. What's it called?
Allah,
Allah,
Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushua, Hashem,
double honor to the elder apostles, GMS, and the elders, Shalom to you, Akim, and Aquatim, the children that believe in sincerity and truth around the four corners of the earth. All right, let's go ahead and get this started. The clip that you saw in the beginning was dealing with that demon vocab that's going around to all the camps, call himself challenging them on doctrine, on our belief, on something that vocab titled as Israelism. You know, coming up with his own scheme so he can sell his books. All right, a money-making scheme that he started when he saw Brother Polite making money off mocking us, mocking the men of the Lord, mocking the apostles of GMS. Vocab Malone started his campaign based off of that. All right, but he told the brother that you saw in the beginning clip, that he started his campaign with debates because of a video that he saw of some brothers going into church and debate the pastor. But really, I saw a video a while back where vocab admitted that he started his campaign or everything he's doing after seeing polite go against the men of the Lord and make money off it, basically. So let's get these two scriptures. It's kind of loud. You can show it, man. Ain't no this loud. Damn. You know what I'm saying? But let's get those two precepts started off with that. And if anything, we can form like a semicircle a little bit.
Book of Isaiah chapter 8, verse 20. To the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them.
Right, man, 'cause he's not speaking according to the word. He's speaking according to his agenda. He came out of his mouth and said that Paul was trying to save Agrippa. Well, Paul wanted Agrippa to be delivered. That's not true. All right, Paul was just being honest in that situation. We're gonna go into it of why he was speaking to Agrippa that way. All right, go ahead, brother. Yeah, no, get up. 12 and 12. This is Revelation 12 and 12. It says, therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath.
This is the book of 1 Peter, chapter 5, verse 8. Be sober, be vigilant.
Right. The Lord said, be sober, be vigilant, man. Being circumspect. All right, and also be patient. Because that damn devil vocab is showing up these camps being what they would call provocateurs. Asian provocative, man. Trying to get close to brothers now, reaching past their signs, get closer to their circle. You know, trying to provoke brothers, man, calling us terrorists. So the Lord is saying, be patient, stay calm, and also be vigilant, be circumspect. Go ahead.
Because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour.
Right, so that's the spirit that both has in. Why can't he just go out and set up his own congregation and go teach on the street? Instead, he got to go around to all the brothers' camp and antagonize and mock them, man. But what did the Lord say? Scoffers, last days come scoffers. All right, so he's going around seeking whom he may devour, seeing what Jakes or Israelites can he pull from their faith. All right, that he can snatch away out of the hands of the Lord.
The book of 2 Peter, chapter 3, verse 3. Knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lust, and saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from as they were from the beginning of creation.
Right. So this guy doesn't believe in Yahweh Shai, man. He don't believe that Yahweh Shai is about to return, that America's going to be destroyed, and the prophecy is going to come to pass. You know, they weren't about making money. That's why they're like, all things continue as they were. I got to go with the flow. I got to go with the system. That's what Vocab is doing. He found a way to capitalize off of YouTube. And the main topic he talks about is Israelites, our people. You know, swagger jacket. Every time he talks about Israelites, his YouTube views go up. All right, so go ahead. But he's seeking whom he may devour, man. That's the thing. He want to devour you if he approaches you. But it's better than not even deal with it. Go ahead, brother.
Approaching that and the different brothers, he's using that to basically, in a sense, using other men's money to build his house, and that's not good. This is spiritual house. No, this is Sirach 21, verse 8. He that buildeth his house with other men's money is like one that gathereth himself stones for the tomb of his burial. So while Vocab is doing what he's doing nothing but gathering stones for his own burial. He's doing nothing but sealing his demise. He's doing nothing but ensuring that he falls in the end.
Right. He ain't gathering their leg. He gathering stones for his burial.
That's all he's doing.
All these Christian churches, they're under that same scripture, man. You know, they built their house with other men's money. It's talking about spiritual house. Yep, very good.
John chapter 10, verse 28. It says, and I give you, and I give unto them eternal life, and they shall never perish, neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand.
Right, so it's talking about who? The Lord's sheep, his elect. So he saw who I call Scar, you know, they walk around in the spirit of envy and jealousy, like on the Lion King, that dark energy around them, going around seeking whom they may devour with a bunch of hyenas with them. You know what I'm saying? He got his hyenas with him. Then they go around seeking whom they may devour. But the Lord said, what? The elect, you won't be able to pluck them out of the Lord's hand. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 29, it says, my Father, which gave them me, is greater than all. And,
right.
And no man is able to pluck them out of my Father's hand.
Right. Right. So you can try all you want to, but it ain't going to work. It's not going to work. Okay? Where's it at? There you go. Somebody get Psalms 12 and 5. 12 and 6. All right, man. Once the Lord gives you his word and his word dwells in you, people can try to take this from you, but they can't, man. That's what the Lord says. The Lord says, stash your riches in heaven, where thieves can't break through and steal. That's what vocab is. He's a fucking wolf. He's a thief seeking to steal you from your salvation, man. All right? Oh, my bad. Go ahead, buddy.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 12 and verse 6. The words of the Lord are pure words, as silver tried in the furnace of earth, purified 7 times.
So purified 7 times. That means tried completely. That's what we're here to do. We're here to be tried. You know, we're here to be tested. So when vocab come up, you got to make sure he don't try to make you get physical. You got to make sure make you slap the shit out of him or something. You know, he might try to provoke you to do that. You got to make sure he don't trick you, man. You know, lie to you. Try to use them fast words, talking about fast and shit. But he's not talking about nothing when you really think about what he's speaking on. All right. Yeah, verse 7. No, that's it. No. All right. So let's get to, let's ask something. Right? That was it. Look at that. Let's go to 25. So now let's go into the story that vocab, the Edomite Malone, the demon, Dr. Edom, what he was speaking about. He was saying in this scripture that Paul was trying to convert Agrippa. That wasn't the focus of that scripture, man. That wasn't the focus of that moment. When he said that Agrippa was learned that he knew about Israel, that he should believe, there was a reason that Paul was saying that, not the way vocab thinks. All right, so let's get into it, man. All right,
It's the book of Acts, chapter 25 and verse 1.
Right.
Now when Festus was come into the province, after 3 days he ascended from Caesarea.
Now let's go a little further back. Let's go to let's go to 24, chapter 24, right? Well, we're gonna go to verse. Let's go to verse 1. Let's start from there. We gotta read 24 too. All right. See right here, we're gonna read about Paul when he was put on house arrest. All right, he was put on house arrest over there, man. I think in Caesarea, for about 2 or 3 years. Go ahead, brother.
It's the book of Acts, chapter 24 and verse 1. And after 5 days, Ananias, the high priest, descended with the elders and with a certain orator named Tertullus.
Right. We're not out here for them anyway. That's right. Go ahead, brother.
Who informed the governor against Paul. And when he was called forth.
Right. Ananias was a Jake. You know, he was a Jake. I'm going to stop y'all a lot. But Ananias, he was a Jake, an Israelite. And he was trying to get Paul to be locked up and even put to death at some point, just like vocab trying to do. All right, but the difference is Ananias was a Jake, an Israelite. Go ahead. And you had Felix. You said Felix already, right? Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Like in Acts 24:2. And when he was called forth, Tertullus began to accuse him, saying, seeing that by thee we enjoy great quietness, and that very worthy deeds are done unto this nation by thy providence. We accept it always in all places, most noble Felix, with all thankfulness.
All right, so this Felix was an Edomite. All right, he was an Edomite that was the governor over Judea. All right, kind of like procurator. All right, go ahead. He was the governor, I think, from 58 to about 60 AD.
Verse 4, notwithstanding that I be not further tedious unto thee, I pray thee that thou wouldest hear us of thy clemency a few words.
Right, so they're basically trying to tell on Paul, lie on. But Paul, now what was the reason though? The reason they were trying to persecute Paul, because Paul was teaching about Yahushua being risen from the dead and stopping him on his road to Damascus. All right, when the Lord Yahushua appeared to Paul, told him, hey Paul, why persecutest thou me? See, all right, and the Jews at that time, which were Israelites, they were against Paul, which is called the Sanhedrin, you know, the Sadducees, the Pharisees. They were against Paul. They were against the teaching of Yahushua. All right, go ahead.
Verse 5 of Acts 24, for we have found this man a pestilent fellow and a mover of sedition among all the Jews throughout the world.
See that? So that's what they're calling us, movers of sedition. You know, they're trying to call you terrorists, trying to provoke riots, right? That's just like trying to lie on Paul. Because when Paul would speak, riots would break out. You know? So go ahead. So that's what they try to call you today. They're trying to call you a terrorist.
And a ringleader of the sect of the Nazarenes.
Right. They call Paul a ringleader of the sect of the Nazarenes. Go ahead.
Who also have gone about to profane the temple whom we took and will have judged according to our law.
Okay.
But the chief captain, Lysias,
see that they wanted to judge him according to the law. That's what they wanted to do to Yahushua. The law was that anybody that said they were a Messiah or you came up teaching a different doctrine, they had to be in prison or put to death. All right. So they wanted to do that with Paul. They didn't understand his teaching.
But the chief captain Lysias came upon us and with great violence took him away out of our hands, right, commanding his accusers to come unto thee by examining of whom thyself mayest take knowledge of all these things, wherefore we accuse him. Yep. And the Jews also assented.
Right. My bad, right? Because if anybody wanted to kill anybody in the Roman Empire, like any Jakes that were in Jerusalem or Judea, they had to go to their governor of that area, you know, before they kill him. Just like they went to what's name, Pontius Pilate. They went to him so they could ask permission to kill Yahushua. They couldn't just go do it. You know? Go ahead.
Verse 9. And the Jews also assented, saying that these things were so. Then Paul, after the governor had beckoned unto him to speak, answered, for as much as I know that thou hast been of many years a judge unto this nation, I do the more cheerfully answer for myself.
Right. Yep. So Paul decided to speak for himself instead of having somebody else speak for him. So it was basically court being held, man. All right, on Paul. They wanted him to be put to death. But instead, he's going to wind up being put in house arrest. This is important. Go ahead. Understand.
Verse 11 of Acts 24, because that thou mayest understand that there are yet but 12 days since I went up to Jerusalem for to worship. And they neither found me in the temple disputing with any man, neither raising up the people, neither in the synagogues nor in the city.
Right. Yep. So he was like, yo, they didn't catch me doing any of that. So what's the issue? He was like, yo, I know you know about this. You saw me out here. You know about what I used to do because they the governors. The governors had to watch over the city. And they the thing about Agrippa and the thing about Felix and Festus, Their whole job was to stop any rebellions from happening, to calm down any rebellions for the Roman Empire. And that's when you get the Jewish-Roman wars that happened 6 years later. All right? But they were trying to keep us calm. All right? And that's what they were trying to do. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 13, neither can they prove the things whereof they now accuse me. But this I confess unto thee, that after the way which they call hearsay, so worship I the God of my fathers, believing all things which are written in the law and in the prophets.
Right, saying, yo, how you going to accuse me? You have no concrete evidence that I committed a crime. It's just my belief. Just like we say today, you can't persecute me for my belief. You can persecute me, but you can't put me in jail for that. You know, like according to their law. According to the Roman law, he didn't commit any crimes. He didn't commit any crimes according to the Jews' law. You know, that's a create the temple or nothing like that. What he did was his own belief in the truth. And it was just hearsay. Right, go ahead.
Verse 15, and have hope toward Yahweh, which they themselves also allow.
Right, so he's saying, yo, I got hope just like they got hope. You know, it's about my hope. It's not, I didn't do anything physical to them. Go ahead.
That there shall be a resurrection of the dead, both of the just and unjust.
Right, so he's saying he was talking about our resurrection from the dead, man, just like the house shot. All right? Saying that what? He said in the kingdom, all Israel shall be saved. Right? But he's going to start with his elect being the first fruit. But in the kingdom, all Israel shall be saved, just and unjust. Right?
And herein do I exercise myself to have always a conscience void of offense towards Yahweh and toward men. Now after many years I came to bring alms to my nation and offerings, whereupon certain Jews from Asia found me purified in the temple, neither with multitude nor with tumult.
Right, so he wasn't walking around with a big crowd, some big celebrity showing off, none of that. You know, he was doing his belief humbly, and business and quiet.
Verse 19.
A lot of reading, you can't pass it over.
All right, verse 19 of Acts 24. Who ought to have been here before thee, and object if they had aught against thee.
Right.
Or else let these same here say, if they have found evil before the council, except it be for the one voice that I cry standing among them, touching the resurrection of the dead, I am called in question by you this day.
Yeah, so that's what this whole discussion was about. The resurrection of the dead. All right? They didn't believe in that. They didn't believe that the dead would be resurrected. That's why they said, well, which body do they come? You know, how are they going to be resurrected? Right? Right, go ahead.
Verse 22. And when Felix heard these things, having more perfect knowledge of that way, he deferred them and said, when Lysias, the chief captain, shall come down, I will know the uttermost of your matter.
Right.
And he commanded a centurion to keep Paul and to let him have liberty.
Oh, what's that? That's house arrest. All right, so he was kept there, but he had liberty. He was able to walk around and teach and everything. He had the Most High work. He had him stuck there, but he was stuck there for a certain amount of time. Just like you might end up in a city, you might be stuck there for a little bit. The Lord really wants you to do some work there, right? Yep, that's right. Go ahead.
And to let him have liberty, and that he shall forbid none of his acquaintance to minister or come unto him.
Yeah, so he was free. He couldn't leave, but he could walk around and teach, and people could come up to him, family members, feed him, whatever. All right. Go ahead.
Verse 24.
So he was basically still considered innocent. You know, innocent still proven guilty.
And after certain days, when Felix came with his wife, Drusilla, which was a Jewess, he sent for Paul and heard him concerning the faith in Yahushua. And as he reasoned of righteousness, temperance.
Right, so he tried to get a woman that was that called herself a Jew, an Israelite. He tried to get her, bring her with him. I'm like, go ahead, Paul, tell me about this. Let me know if you heard anything like this before. this new knowledge that Paul was speaking about Yahushua, testimony of Yahushua, that we're going to be risen from the dead like him. Go ahead.
Verse 25. And as he reasoned of righteousness, temperance, and judgment to come, Felix trembled and answered, Go thy way, for this time. When I have a convenient season, I will call for thee.
Right. So he was like, yo, he couldn't understand it. It was bugging him out. All right. It was bugging Felix out. So he was like, yo, you know what? Yeah, just get out of my face for a little while, and I'm gonna come back and deal with you. But he basically left him there. You know, he knew he was about to leave office. Felix, he was about to leave office, but to do the Jews a favor, the Israelite Jews called circumcision, to do them a favor, do them a solid, he left Paul. He didn't let Paul free. He left him in house arrest. See that? Go ahead.
Verse 26. He hoped also that money should have been given him of Paul.
Yeah, so he wanted to put pressure on Paul to get Paul to give him money. So he knew Paul had money. All right. Paul was a tent maker. You know, so he was hoping that Paul was gonna give him some money to let him free. Go ahead. Esau, man. Esau.
He hoped also that money should have been given him of Paul, that he might loose him.
Right. See, Vocab don't want to talk about this. He don't want to talk about the wickedness and atrocities of his people. He always want to point and talk about our people.
Wherefore he sent for him the oftener and communed with him. But after 2 years, Porcius Festus came into Felix's room, and Felix, willing to show the Jews a pleasure, left Paul bound.
There you go. See that? So now Festus took his spot. So this was like two and a half years or so that Paul was on house arrest. And then when Felix left office, he was still on house arrest. He was forgotten about. And he just left him there to do the Jews solid, right? So that lets you know when he's talking about Jews, he's not saying, yeah, Jews and then Edomite. He's just saying Jews versus the Israelites that believe. You know, when he talk about Paul, Paul's a Jew too, but when he referencing Jews, he's talking about those are the circumcision that were kind of going off at that time. All right, let's get back to it, man. So now you got Felix leaving office, and you got Festus coming into office from about 59 AD to about 62 AD, right?
Right, this Acts, the book of Acts, 25, verse 1. It says, now when Festus was coming to the province after 3 days,
right, this is about 60 AD, right?
He ascended from Caesarea to Jerusalem.
Right, because when he first came into office, he went straight to Caesarea. And then once he went there, he got coronated and everything, welcome. But then he went from there to Jerusalem, all right, to see what was going on because he became governor of Judah, all right. So he became the procurator, and another word for procurator is like an attorney, a spokesman for, either side, like a prosecutor, all right, or a governor. Okay, go ahead.
Verse 2, it says, then the high priest and the chief of the Jews informed him against Paul and besought him.
Right, so they had to kind of give him insight on what was going on with Paul. He just got into office. He got this prisoner in his, this prisoner on house arrest. They're like, yeah, this guy's name is Paul. You got to do something with it. He's just been here, on house arrest. Go ahead.
And desire favor against him.
This is cooking, man.
Ah.
Yeah, man. All right, go ahead, bro.
In Acts chapter 25, verse 3, it says, and desire favor against him, that he would send for him to Jerusalem, laying wait in the way to kill him.
Right, so they wanted him to kill Paul.
It says, but Festus answered that Paul should be kept in Caesarea, and that he and that he himself would depart shortly thereof.
Right. Yep. So he was saying, keep Paul there in Caesarea, and I'll be back over there. We're going to judge him there. All right. We'll deal with it there. Right. But they were trying to get Paul to be brought to Judah, so they can try to kill him, according to the Jews' laws. You know, that he was breaking the law, he got to be put to death. But it was like, no, if he's held in Caesarea, he's going to be held according to the Roman law. Okay, because Paul was known as a Roman. You know, so if he was known as a Roman, you had to be dealt with in the Roman court. Paul knew that. He was clever. Watch this. He's going to appeal to Caesar. To appeal to Caesar, meaning like if a cop try to lock you up, you say, I plead the fifth. I'm going to wait till I talk to the judge. You know, that's what happened. All right, go ahead, brother.
Verse 5, it says, let them therefore, said he, which among you are able, go down with me and accuse this man.
Right, so what's his name? Festus. He was asking any Jakes that was gonna go down with him to Caesarea. Say, hey, come with me. I ain't gonna bring him to y'all. Come with me, and we'll deal with it there. Go ahead.
It says, if there be any wickedness in him,
right.
And when he had tarried among them more than 10 days, he went down unto Caesarea.
Right, so he left Jerusalem now. Festus left Jerusalem. He's going back to Caesarea to see Paul. Okay.
It says he went down unto Caesarea, and the next day, sitting in the judgment seat, commanded Paul to be brought.
Yeah. Now he left Jerusalem. He said, no, I'm not going to bring Paul here to Jerusalem, to Judea. This is an Edomite speaking. He said, I'm going to leave Paul in Caesarea, and y'all can come with me there, and we can deal with it there. All right? So the next day, he said 10 days later, they held this court. And Festus set in the judgment seat. Very good.
It says, verse 7, and when he was come, the Jews which came down from Jerusalem stood round about.
He had a bunch of Jakes standing around about. This is like court. Standing around about, you know, a bunch of Edomites. Go ahead.
And laid many and grievous complaints against Paul.
Right, so they were accusing him, you know, basically lying on him. Go ahead, brother. Just like the churches do with us. They call us bums, rapists, all kinds of shit. They ain't do none of that.
It says, and laid many and grievous complaints against Paul, which they could not prove.
They couldn't prove it, man. Yeah, they could not prove it according to the scriptures or the law. They could not prove it, man. Go ahead, brother.
This is Sirach chapter 7. Chapter 7. Sirach chapter 7, verse 12. Devise not a lie against thy brother, neither do the like to thy friend. So just like they was doing, the Lord says, don't devise lies. You know, it says, use not to make any manner of lie, for the custom thereof is not good. And that's what they was doing to Paul. They was devising lies, trying to come up with anything to accuse him, to get him
no, you said I was saying.
To be put in a more unscrupulous situation, or possibly even death.
Right.
You know,
If they come through, you good. What you talking? All right, where we at?
I got that Acts 25, verse 7, verse 8. It says, while he answered for himself, neither against the law of the Jews, neither against the temple, nor yet against Caesar, have I offended anything at all?
Right, so he was saying, no, it wasn't a question, he was saying period. So he like, yo, Paul was saying, I didn't offend against anybody. I ain't breaking no laws out here. I didn't break the law of the scriptures, and I didn't break the law of the Roman Empire. All right, go ahead.
It says, but Festus, willing to do the Jews a pleasure, answered Paul and said,
right, so Festus was ready to hand them over. All right, Festus, this Edomite, he was ready to hand Paul over to the Jews, to his own people. All right, go ahead.
It says, wilt thou go up to Jerusalem and there be judged of these things before me?
See that? So he just left Jerusalem, said he wouldn't do it, you know? But now he's talking to Paul. He like, yo, you want to go to Jerusalem and deal with your own people? and let's deal with it there. But if Paul was smart, he knew if he went to Jerusalem with him, they would have killed him there. Well, watch what Paul said. Go ahead.
It says, then said Paul, I stand at Caesar's judgment seat.
Right, so Paul was saying, yo, I stand at Caesar's judgment seat, not at the seat of my people. No, I stand at Caesar's judgment seat.
It says,
he said he already proved this point to them during the time of Felix. Paul was like, he already proved it, remember? You know, but he was talking to who was the guy named in the beginning? 24? Ananias. Remember that? Remember when they were accusing Paul? And then and he had a debate against him in verse chapter 24. My man, what up, dog? Good to see you, bro. All right.
I think y'all are racist.
I think he's short. Get that out of my face.
Oh. But I
shut your ass up. Hey, shut your ass up. Shut your ass up. Shut your stupid ass up. We already talked to you and proved it. We proved it to your little silly, goofy, rat face ass. We already proved it to your goofy ass. Yeah, what you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it?
do you know what we're talking about?
What you gonna do about it? Right, you know, insinuate. What are you trying to do? What you gonna do?
Do you know what we're talking about?
Ain't that crazy? Ain't that crazy?
You're going to tell us we don't know what we're talking about from a standpoint.
You gonna walk by and say, I think you're racist. Now, what has made you think that we're racist after we talked to you? After we talked to your goofy ass for hours the other day. We talked to your goof. Oh, you looked into it. That's why. Man, what the hell is racist? What the hell is racist? You know what racist means? Do you know what racist means? Do you know what racist means, Goofy? Or you come up with or you just want to come up and insult? Well, the scriptures say, make my forehead hard against your forehead. The scriptures say, make my forehead hard against your forehead, boy. 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 Let's go ahead and read over this. That's right. You salty. You salty. You mad. He mad. He mad. Y'all can't put us in slavery. You mad because you can't put us in slavery, demon. It's over. It's over. It's your turn. It's your turn. Hey, go up to your people and call them racist for what they did to us. You know what I'm saying? Go tell your people they're racist for what they did to us. They got monuments about the shit y'all did. They hung us on trees, genius. You don't remember that? Because you don't want to remember. You don't want to remember. They were Africans, genius. We're not Africans, dummy. I'm telling you, we're Judites. So you can't come up and tell us what we are. We're telling you we're not no damn Africans according to definition. But you call us racist when we tell you we're not. We're not out here to impose our race on you. We're out here being racist, meaning just like a pianist is a professional in their race. Y'all were racism. Y'all set up racism, which is a system to keep us bound and in slavery. That's the racism. Goddamn devil.
We set up a better system for y'all.
He don't want to talk about that.
Who needs a system that is?
We don't need y'all system.
Who needs a system that is?
Like you're saying, this is the right here is bad.
It is. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Because you're benefiting, so it's good for you because you're benefiting.
And anything you do in
but
the
for anyone else outside of the children of Israel,
you have unlimited potential to do anything in this world.
We're both kids that we need to make money, right?
Slaves?
Done, man.
We're all slaves.
Done.
Do you still know what we're talking about, though?
I'm never done. It gets me so.
It gets you so mad. Where you at? Where are you at? Where are you at when our people getting gunned down in the street?
Yeah, where are you?
Where you at? Why I don't see you out on the
sitting
TV?
on your ass at home watching it on the TV, and you're probably saying, "Hey," that's what they did.
In order to stop the crime.
Yeah, they need maybe, huh? Maybe. It's crazy. He sounds so maybe, but what if he's so short? Yeah, that's what you need. That's what you belong. That's what you belong. Hey, Gabar, make your point, bro. I would never do that. I would never bow down to you. I wouldn't do that. You can bow down to us. Look at your boy.
Yeah, I'll bow down to
Look at your boy. Right. You making him look bad, man. He's looking at you like, what the hell you doing there? He's looking looking down here like, what the hell you doing bowing down? Hey, asshole, we're not talking about skin hole, asshole. Skin. We're not talking about skin. We're not talking about skin color. What skin color do you see on here? What color do you see on here? See, you being that's why I said asshole, bro. You being an asshole. What color do you see on here? We're not talking color. We have nations on here. Nations. Nations. Not y'all call us black. We call us Israelites. Jews. Judah. We out here talking about that. Promises. Promises given to these different lineages. Not race. Not when.
Don't you know that's the normal thing?
That's the truth.
Normal.
That's the truth. That's the truth. You just don't want it in the Bible. That's the truth. Well, look, where were you at? Well, where were you at when they put that white image of Jesus the Lord up? Why don't you take that down?
Nobody knows the truth.
Why don't you have a problem with that? Why don't you have a? I already know you're an atheist. I already know, man. You told us. So we sit here arguing, wasting our time with an atheist. And it's crazy because when he walked off last time, he actually was in agreement. Kinda, he was like, "I'm gonna look into it." Now that he looked into it, he come back here like a fucking like a cougar.
You know why? Because according to the scriptures, Esau has found no place of repentance.
Yeah, you can't get in there.
There is no way in if you're not an Israelite. And when it comes down to this doctrine, this transcends color. It transcends color. Numerous times have you heard brothers say, we are not crayon prophets.
He don't hear it. He don't hear you saying it.
You know, we're not crayon prophets. It is proven fact that we have Israel that look like literally everybody, every race on the earth, every skin tone, height, weight, size, smell, looks. You know.
I'm not.
So,
I thought you was cool before, man. But to walk up and just yell out we racist in the middle of our conversation, that was rude. So that's why I'm rude to you. You ain't never hear me talk to you like that. But the Lord said, make our foreheads hard against yours. You come up with respect, I'm gonna be completely respectful. But if you come up like, yo, you're racist, I'm gonna say you're an asshole. That's the best I can do. I'm not gonna fight you, man. You know what I'm saying? So, but you know the point, though. Go ahead, man. No, I'm not gonna take that. No, I'm gonna make you think it's
prejudice.
All right, man.
All right. Back at the book of Acts, 25 and 10.
Yep, we'll keep reading. We're reading about Paul. Go ahead. All right, man. Good, thank you. Oh, get on another planet?
We are on Earth. You just jacked in, brother. To the matrix. You don't want to wake up. Yeah.
I could keep arguing with him, but it's cool.
You gonna try over there?
Let's keep going. We could keep debating with him and all that. Really, man, but we killing.
Back to the book of Acts, chapter 25, verse 10. It says, then said Paul, I stand at Caesar's judgment seat.
Right. Yep. Paul was like, yeah, take me to Rome. All right, go ahead.
Where I ought to be judged.
Right. He was saying, I'm not supposed to be judged in Jerusalem. I'm not supposed to be judged. You gotta say it. Catch him on there. Right, come on.
It says, then said Paul, I stand at Caesar's judgment seat.
Right, Paul was there, man. Paul was saying he's not supposed to be judged in Jerusalem. He wasn't supposed to be judged in Caesarea. He was supposed to be taken to the seat of the Caesar, right? Dealing with Roman matters. But they like, no, we can deal with this on a low level. All right, that's why Agrippa gonna step in and say, no, bring him to me. I'll see him before we take him to Nero. Go ahead.
Where I ought to be judged. To the Jews.
Yeah.
Have I done no wrong?
No, not a question.
It says, we read it. It says, then said Paul, I stand at Caesar's judgment seat, where I ought to be judged. To the Jews have I done no wrong.
Right. So he said, I did no wrong to them, man. I already proved it, so I'm not going back there. Go ahead.
As thou very well knowest.
Right. He said, you very well know it. See that according to your laws. Y'all know the laws. Y'all was studied in the law. Y'all know everything that's going on in your province. You know I ain't do nothing against them. Go ahead.
Verse 11, for if I be an offender or have committed anything worthy of death, I refuse not to die.
Right. So he was saying, if I committed anything worthy of death, go ahead and kill him. He wanted to die. So he was like, yo, I'm not afraid to die. I'm not sitting here lying to you. Right. Yep.
It says, but if there be none of these things, whereof these accuse me, no man may deliver me unto them.
Right. So he said, what? He said, read that last part again.
It says, no man may deliver me unto them.
Right. So yep. Go ahead.
I appeal unto Caesar.
Right, because Caesar would have been on their ass. And the Caesar at that time, the Augustus was Nero. All right, he would have been on their ass if they would have judged him and not brought it to Caesar. And him being a Roman, he had to be brought before the Caesar. Right, go ahead.
Then Festus, when he had covered with the council. Verse 12, it says, then Festus, when he had covered with the council, answered, hast thou applied unto Caesar?
That's like saying, that's like the cop. They say, hey, you got the right to remain silent. You want an attorney? You know, you plead the fifth. All right. You saying, hey, you saying you appeal to Caesar? Okay, then. Appeal to Caesar, I got to take him to Caesar. Okay.
It says, then Festus, when he had conferred with the council, answered, hast thou appealed to Caesar? But to Caesar shalt thou go.
Yeah. All right. So, but he never made it to Caesar. Go ahead.
And after certain days, King Agrippa.
See, Agrippa showed up like, oh, wait, what the hell going on, man? All right. Agrippa, then this, a lot of people don't know. They think it's talking about Herod Agrippa. This is talking about Agrippa the second. All right. Not Agrippa the first, who was of the lineage of Herod, both of them. Ooh, I got something I want to read. All right, go ahead. Agrippa, man. Now, ooh, man, go ahead, bro. There's a Herod Agrippa the second. His name was what was his name, man? Marcellus. Yeah, Agrippa, Marcus, Julius, Agrippa the second, and he ruled from 27 to 100 AD.
Back at verse 13, it says, and after certain days, King Agrippa and Bernice came unto Caesar.
Right, because Berenice was the sister. All right, and she was the daughter of Herod, of Agrippa, but she was also a sexual partner for her own brother. They was having incest. It was what's his name? What's his name? Agrippa the second. So he was popping his own family member named Berenice. And she came with him. All right, she came with Agrippa to go to Judge Paul. Okay. Now Agrippa was raised up as a Jew. He was an Edomite. He was raised up under the laws of Israelites. Could somebody look up nominal? He was known as a nominal Jew. Nominal. The nominal. Nominal. Yeah, come on, brother. Can you read that?
This is the definition: nominal of a role or status existing in name only.
Oh, he was known as a nominal Jew, meaning he was existing as a Jew in name only, not in lineage, not in promise, none of that. It was just something that he was following. All right. Let's get this real quick. Let's take some screenshots of something I want to read from the other phone. It's on that phone. What the hell going on out here, man?
This is another definition. This is from the etymology. This is another definition. It says insignificantly small,
Hmm.
a matter of form only.
Right.
Token.
Token. So a matter of form only. So just like vocab, you know, or the fake Jews over there. You know, it's just something that they took on. They're not Jews by heritage, by lineage. All right. But now, I want to read this real quick. I'm gonna try to read it fast. Cool? All right, some history stuff. It says here, Herod. All right, let's go back to Herod now. Yeah, Herod. He was born Herod the Edomite. We know that, right? Herod the Great. He was born in 72 BC in Idumea. He was the son. He was the son of Antipater the Idumean. It's important. A high-ranking officer under Hyrcanus II. Now, if you know anything, John Hyrcanus, he was a Jake, one of the last ones of the Hasmonean dynasty ruler, right? John Hyrcanus, when he was fighting against the Syrians and over there, what you would call Edom, he forced those Edomites into taking on the customs of the Jews. I'm gonna say that again. Hyrcanus, he forced those Edomites to take on the customs of the Jews. See that? All right. But the same thing happened. The same thing happened during the time of what was that, Dinah and Jacob. When those Canaanites, one of the Canaanites had, what was it, Hiram? I can't remember his name. Had sex with Dinah, and the Jews went to war with the Canaanites and killed them after they circumcised. Remember that? Simeon and Levi, they killed him. I forgot the African's name, but I can't remember his name. But yeah, him. He they made him. They told him to get circumcised. They'd be take on our customs. That didn't make them Jews though. See that? That's the same type of thing. All right, but in this sense, Hyrcanus said, no, you got to take on all the customs of the Jews. You have no choice, but you got to leave the land. So they did that. That was Antipater the Edomite, the grandfather, the father of Herod the Great. So later on, his lineage, as they were birthed, Agrippa and all of them, they were raised up as Jews. Get it? They were raised up as nominal Jews. All right. So that's why Paul was speaking to Agrippa that way. Saying, I know you know about this. Now let's get through it. Check this out. It says, I know it's gonna start getting loud. It says here, a high-ranking officer under Hyrcanus II. Now let me skip down. Herod's father was a descendant of an Edomite. This is like Wikipedia, man. Herod's father was by descent an Edomite. His ancestors had converted to Judaism. Herod was raised as a Jew. All right. So with that being said, Hyrcanus II, he told them they could never be Jews. He said they'll never be Jews, never be true Israelites. And that's what we tell them vocab. It says a precedent for forced conversion to Judaism. Let me read from here. Hold on. It says Herod Agrippa II. That's what we're reading about now. I ain't gonna go into John Hyrcanus. That's the broke it down. But Herod Agrippa II, my bad. He was the son of Herod Agrippa, right? The first, whose death is recorded in Acts chapter 12. We know that. Herod Agrippa II, the Edomite that Paul was talking to, he was a Jew by virtue of descent from Herod the Great's wife, Miriam. So they think he was a Jew because of his wife, because of Herod's wife. See what I'm saying? See, Herod's wife was named Miriam. She was an Israelite. That was the wife, but the lineage goes through the father. Somebody get that? Declare the house of the father. Right. The lineage don't go through your mother. All right. They thought he was gay. Yeah, that's what they do today, man. They take the lineage and go to the mom. Just because he was raised up as a Jew, and he said he got some bloodline from Miriam, he thinks he's Israelite. Paul knew this about them, man. Who else got it?
It's the book of Numbers, chapter 1 and verse 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upward by their polls.
There you go. All right, so you declare your pedigree, your lineage by the house of your father, man, not through your mother. Esau can't get right. You know, they always deal with confusion. That's what the Lord said, their dwelling shall be the dust. All right, so and the Lord said what? Their fathers have inherited lies. All right, let's get back to the story now. It should make more sense. Oh, did I finish that? Yeah, I just read enough. That's enough. I could do a lesson. Somebody can do a lesson. I'll do a lesson on John Hyrcanus later. How he converted them and forced them to follow in our customs.
All right, it's back at the book of Acts, chapter 25 and verse 13. And after certain days, King Agrippa and Bernice came into Caesarea to salute Festus.
Right, so they all linked up together. A bunch of Edomites. They all linked up together and were preparing to have court against Paul. All right, go ahead.
When they had been there many days, Festus declared Paul's cause unto the king, saying, there is a certain man left in bonds by Felix.
From Felix, see that? So now they bringing it up to Agrippa. They like, yo, Agrippa. When Felix left office a couple years ago, he left this guy on house arrest named Paul. And we got to deal with this because it's being escalated all the way up until Caesar, unto Nero. All right, go ahead.
Verse 15, about whom, when I was at Jerusalem, the chief priests and the elders of the Jews informed me, desiring to have judgment against him.
Yeah, they wanted him dead. His own people wanted to kill him. All right, you got to preach something? All right, go ahead. We still being.
Verse 16, Acts 25, to whom I answer, it is not the matter of the Romans to deliver any man to die, before that he which is accused have the accusers face to face.
Right, so they ain't kill nobody just off your word. They had to have court first, all right? And that's what they did with Yahushua. But the thing about Yahushua is they accused him, they flogged him, and they crucified him all on the same day, man. And you're not supposed to do it. It wasn't supposed to be done like that. You know, it's supposed to be done like weeks apart. Then they crucified the person. All right, but they did it all in one day to Yahushua. Go ahead, brother. Paul was smart. He was smart in the law of Israel. He was known as a Pharisee. And he was also well versed in the law of the Romans. He was like an officer for the Roman Empire and for the Sanhedrin. All right, go ahead.
And have license to answer for himself concerning the crime laid against him.
Right, so he got license to answer for himself. Go ahead.
Verse 17, therefore, when they were come hither without any delay, on the morrow, I sat on the judgment seat and commanded the man to be brought forth. Against whom, when the accuser stood up, they brought none accusation of such things as I suppose.
Right. See that? So he was like, yo, when they all stood up, they basically were saying nothing. I sat here and heard them all talk, but it made no sense what they were saying about this man, Paul. So now, Agrippa, I need your help figuring this out. All right, that's what Festus was saying. All right, you want to read that real quick?
Proverbs 25 and 18. A man that beareth false witness against his neighbor is a maul, and a sword, and a sharp arrow. I got a precursor to that scripture too. So,
Neighbor is your brother. Israelite.
it was 1 Thessalonians 5 and 21. Prove all things. Prove all things, hold fast that which is good. Abstain from all appearance of evil. Right? Because the brothers even tried to persecute Paul himself. Try to take him up to Jerusalem so they can kill him. So I mean that's what goes on today. Kind of in that same spirit. That's how our people live. In the spirit of Esau, trying to persecute us just because we're following the laws and how I was shining. They don't like the teachings of it. And by them not liking the teachings, they persecute the men of the Lord.
Right. First thing they do, I teach them, they say, call the police.
Hmm.
You say that too.
I got Acts 25 and verse 19. But had certain questions against him of their own superstition, and of one Yahweh Shai.
Right. So he was saying, my bad. He was saying, according to the law, he couldn't find anything. But he was like, it was about their superstition. That's what he thought about faith. See, Esau thinks our faith is a superstition. You see that? Somebody look up superstition, please. We'll get this real quick before we keep going. All right. So he's just like when they had us in slavery. They say, yeah, go ahead and read the Bible. Or they wouldn't let us read, but they say, sing those Negro spirituals, songs of faith, because they don't matter anyway. It's just superstition.
This is the definition of superstition: excessively credulous belief in and reverence for supernatural beings. A widely held but unjustified belief in supernatural causation leading to certain consequences of an action or event, or a practice based on such a belief.
Right. So just like Yahweh Shai rising from the dead, they thought that was superstition.
Hmm.
Right. So they're like, yo, you can't lock him up and kill him for his superstition, for his faith, what he believes.
I was going to say that guy that walked up earlier, if he had a chance, he'd do the same thing. Because he came up here just threw a name at us. Yeah. If he had the chance, he'll try to persecute us like how they did Yahweh Shai and Paul, and all the men of the world.
All right, back at Acts 25 and 19. But had certain questions against him of their own superstition, and of one Yahweh Shai, which was dead, whom Paul affirmed to be alive.
Yeah. They just didn't believe that Yahweh Shai was alive, man. He said, let's get this real quick. Look at something real fast. Real quick. What is this? Somebody grab it real quick. Word. 1 Corinthians 1 and 20. 1. Yeah, 1 and 21. Bring it out as soon as you get it.
1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 21. It says, for after that, in the wisdom of Yahweh, whereby wisdom do not Yahweh.
Right, so if you're following after any congregations or churches or colleges, you'll never find the Lord behind those doors. Right? Any other book besides this book, you won't find the Lord there, man. You'll never be able to find your way back to God any other way. Go ahead.
It says, it please Yahweh by the foolishness of preach to save them that believe.
Right, so this is the only way to get back to the Father. Go ahead.
It says, for the Jews require a sign.
Oh, the Jews what?
For the Jews require a sign.
You read again, the demon over here.
For the Jews require a sign, and the Greeks seek after wisdom. But we preach a Mashiach, crucified unto the Jews, a stumbling block, and unto the Greeks, foolishness.
There you go. All right, so unto the Jews, this became a stumbling block because they needed to see it. But the Lord said, what? Faith is what? Make it that. All right. Oh, don't lose it yet. Right, he said, what? The Jews require a sign. See that? They wanted to be there to see it. God. They wanted to be there to see it. Because Yahweh Shai didn't reveal himself to them, they didn't believe it. All right.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 11, and verse 1,
Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by it the elders obtained a good report. Through faith we understand that the world was framed by the words of Yahweh, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear.
Right, bro. But we don't need to see it. We know the Lord made this. We don't need to say, yo, I need to go back in the ancient times to see it. We know the Lord. We know Yahweh Shai is in the heavens. We know he rose from the dead according to the spirit of truth, the spirit of understanding, the spirit of wisdom, understanding life and death, understanding that the body has a soul and spirit. All right. He saw in the Greeks and the Romans, a lot of the Pharisees and the Sadducees, they didn't believe in the spirit. All right. They didn't believe that you had a spirit in your body that would raise up and all that. All right, go ahead.
This is the book of John 20 and 29. Yahweh Shah said unto him, Thomas, because thou hast seen me, thou hast believed. Blessed are they that have not seen and yet have believed.
Paul was blessed, man. You know, even though Paul saw them still. But Paul's message, anybody that believed Paul, man, they were blessed, man. Blessed are those that believe without sin. He said, what? To the Jews, this was foolishness. Read that again, the last part.
Verse 22 of 1 Corinthians 1, it says, for the Jews require a sign.
They want to see it. Yeah, they need to see it, right? Go ahead. Or they won't believe.
And the Greeks seek after wisdom.
Greeks seeking after wisdom, right? They're going after all this worldly wisdom. You got to prove it to them according to doctrine to wake them up. Go ahead.
But we preach Mashiach crucified.
Right. Because of this, man. If you're an Israelite and you knew about the prophecy, then you see Yahweh Shai, you had a better chance to kind of believe in it. But if somebody was in the world and they was a Greek, or they was living in Africa, and they had no idea of the prophecy, and they saw Yahweh Shai, or they wouldn't know what was going on. All right. So to an Israelite foreigner, this is just like they don't know what the hell going on, brother.
Verse 23, it says, but we preach Mashiach Yahweh Shai crucified unto the Jews a stumbling block.
All right. So to the Jews, it became a stumbling block, but they thought they knew every damn thing.
And unto the Greeks, foolishness.
Right, so the Greeks, meaning Israelite, Hellenized Israelite, this was foolishness to them. So just like 2/3 of our people, when they see us out here teaching, this is foolishness to them. See that? But then you got some people that claim to be dealing with the Bible, they need to see things before they can believe it. I don't believe you. America not going to be destroyed. Oh, yes, it is. It's about to happen, whether you believe it or not. Right? But we believe and we know that our Lord Yahweh Shai is out there in the heavens. We don't need to see proof of that. All right, that was it on that, right, bro? Pretty much, right? Let's get back to the story.
He's back at the book of Acts, chapter 25 and verse 20. And because I doubted with such manner of questions, I asked him whether he would go to Jerusalem and there be judged of these matters.
Right, so Festus was telling Agrippa, saying, hey, I was talking to Paul and telling him, hey, man, I'll take you to Jerusalem so you can be judged amongst your people. But this is what Paul said.
But when Paul had appealed to be reserved unto the hearing of Augustus, I commanded him to keep till I might send him to Caesar.
See that? So he was going to be sent to Nero. That was the Caesar. That was the Augustus at that time. Nero. And Herod Agrippa II, he was like a spokesperson that helped to negotiate, was trying to negotiate peace in the 66 AD Jewish rebellion against the Roman Empire. All right, for taxation and bringing they were bringing what do you call that? The eagle? Yeah, the standard. They put an eagle standard right in the entrance of Jerusalem. And they promised they wouldn't do that according to their treaty with Israel, and they did it anyway. All right, and we had zealots that were always against taxation. You know, so go ahead, bro.
Verse 22 of Acts 25. Then Agrippa said unto Festus, I will also hear the man myself tomorrow, said he, that thou shalt hear him.
Right, so Agrippa agreed to hear him now. All right, so you can see this court being established. Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans with the Israelites are the El nombre es Yahushua. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Verse 23.
I was speaking this for years. Not like literally.
Yeah.
Like that one set. Yeah. Go ahead, man.
Verse 23. And on the morrow, when Agrippa was come, and Bernice was great pomp.
Right, so they showed up. Like, you see the difference with Paul? Paul said he wasn't walking around like that when he was teaching. But when they showed up, they got to show up with this big extravagant entrance for court. This is court. This is it. That's how Esau rolled, you know. Stand for the judge.
Stand for this nominated.
Yeah, just like today's court. They give the judge a gavel. They set him up high. The gavel, what is that for? It's to put fear in somebody. That's literally it. There's no reason for it. It's to put fear in you like that. The banging of the gavel. That's it. It's to strike. It's to strike fear into the human being. Go ahead, brother.
And on the morrow, when Agrippa was come, and Bernice with great pomp, and was entered into the place of hearing with the chief captains and principal men of the city, at Festus' commandment, Paul was brought forth.
Right. Yep, right.
And Festus said, King Agrippa, and all men which are here present with us, ye see this man about whom all the multitude of the Jews have dealt with you, both at Jerusalem and also here, crying that he ought not to live any longer.
Right. Okay.
But when I found that he had committed nothing worthy of death, and that he himself have appealed to Augustus, I have determined to send him.
Right.
Of whom I have no certain thing to write unto my Lord, wherefore I have brought him forth before you, and especially before thee, O King Agrippa.
Right. Festus was calling Agrippa his Lord. Go ahead.
O King Agrippa, that after examination had, I might have somewhat to write.
Right, because they actually worship their leaders. You know, they actually worship. And the Augustuses, they looked at them as God. They literally deified them. Right.
Verse 27. For it seemed to me unreasonable to send a prisoner and not withal to signify the crimes laid against him.
There you go, man. All right, so he was innocent until proven guilty. They still haven't proven it yet at this point. All right, now y'all see the charges that were brought against him. What was it? Him speaking about Yahushua rising from the dead. Like, an experience that he experienced firsthand. Yahushua introduced himself to him. And Paul's going to explain that. And while he was explaining that to Agrippa, he was like, Agrippa, I know you believe me, man. You know? And that's not a shocking thing, man. Well, that's not a shocking thing for an Edomite to believe that the Lord is alive. They believe today. They just believe incorrectly, not according to the truth. You go into these churches, hey, is the Messiah alive? They don't say yes. See, years ago, it wouldn't have taught about a Messiah. It was taught about the laws and Moses. But then we started teaching about a Messiah now, him being born and he has risen again. He already got crucified. That's not a shocking thing today, over time. But why should it be shocking that Agrippa would believe that? Because it's called common sense. Right? Agrippa was already familiar with the prophecy. He was already familiar with the Old Testament where it prophesied about the Messiah. All right? So let's get into this now. Chapter 26. Let's end it here.
This is the book of Acts 26:1.
He wasn't trying to convert Agrippa. It had nothing to do with it. You know what I'm saying? If you listen to vocab, you'll think his intention was going there to try to scheme them and convert Agrippa. He took it way out of context. You know what I'm saying? He's demon, man. All right.
And it's Acts 26:1. It says, Then Agrippa said unto Paul, Thou art permitted to speak for thyself. Then Paul stretched forth the hand
and answer for himself.
Right, like this. Like somebody talking like this, he got chains on. So he like, yo, he's talking. All right, go ahead.
It says, I think myself happy, King Agrippa, because I shall answer for myself.
Right, so he was hyped. He said, I can answer this for myself today. I don't need nobody from none of my people standing up. I don't need none of these Edomites standing up for me. I can answer for myself. The Lord set it up that way. He's gonna tell the truth, right?
All right, it says, because I shall answer for myself this day before thee touching all the things whereof I am accused of the Jews.
Right, the Jews, Israelites, right?
Especially because I know thee to be expert in all customs and questions.
Read that right. Read that again.
Right. Verse 3. It says, especially because I know thee to be expert in all customs and questions, which are among the Jews. It says, especially because I know thee to be expert in all customs and questions, which are among the Jews.
Yeah. So Agrippa was an expert in all questions and customs dealing with Israelites, dealing with the Jews. Why? Because Agrippa was raised up as a Jew. He was raised up, so-called keeping the law. They were looking at it like church, you know. He was called a nominal Jew, right? Meaning, he was just a Jew in name only. That's it. All right, not in lineage, not in heritage, not in promise. All right, let's keep going.
It says, wherefore I beseech thee to hear me patiently.
Right, so he knew that Paul knew that Herodian lineage dynasty was raised up as Jews, but they were not Jews. You know what I mean? Go ahead, brother. My bad.
Verse 4. It says, my manner of life from my youth. It says, my manner of life from my youth, which was at the first among my own nation at Jerusalem. Know all the Jews.
Right, so he's saying, yo, shit, everything I used to do when I was younger, all the Jews know that about me. He was going around persecuting the church. Anybody that believed in Yahushua, he would persecute. Right? And Paul would believe in keeping the law. But he was telling Agrippa this, saying, yo, you know about the laws, man. I was all about that. I didn't believe in the Messiah. Go ahead.
Verse 5, it says, which knew me from the beginning, and they would testify that after the most straightest sect of our religion, I live a Pharisee.
Right, so the word religio goes back to restraint. All right, so the laws were set in place to restrain our people, right, from being wicked. But when it comes to that, when it comes to our laws, Paul was a Pharisee, man, and the Pharisee was expert in the laws. Let's get there real quick. Philippians 3:1, all the way to 9. We just split it. Might want to split it.
This is the book of Philippians, chapter 3, verse 1. Finally, my brethren, rejoice in the Lord. To write the same things to you, to me indeed is not grievous, but for you it is safe. Beware of dogs. Beware of evil workers. Beware of the concision.
Beware of the concision, man. These were Jews that knew that they were Israelites. The Lord was saying, beware of them. Oh, Paul was saying, beware of them, man. Though they say they're keeping the law perfectly, but they still didn't have the right spirit. They didn't have the right doctrine, right?
We are the circumcision,
yeah, we're spiritual circumcised, right?
Which worship Yahweh in the spirit, and rejoice in Yahushua, and have no confidence in the flesh.
Right, we don't have no confidence. Even though Paul said he was a Pharisee, he kept the law perfectly. You know, he was even willing to put somebody to death for the Sanhedrin if they went against the law. But he was saying he had no confidence in it, man. That's, once you Once you come to serve the Most High, you have no confidence in that. Because you're not going to walk to the Lord and say, hey, he said, how did you get here? I got here because I kept the laws perfect. The Lord going to say, no, you a liar. You messed up on this one. Put him, kick him out of it. We better say we got to the Lord. We made it to Yahweh through Yahweh Shai. All right, go ahead.
Though I might also have confidence in the flesh, if any other man think of that he have whereof you might trust in the flesh.
Right, people like IUIC, they think they keep the laws perfectly. Paul said this, right?
I more.
Paul kept it more. Right?
As far as
he's still saying have no confidence as far as the salvation. Right?
Circumcised the 8th day of the stock of Israel.
Circumcised on the 8th day. A lot of us were circumcised on the 8th day.
Of the tribe of Benjamin.
And he was born of the tribe of Benjamin. Okay. Got to be born as an Israelite. Go ahead.
And a Hebrew of the Hebrews.
Right. So he was fluent in Hebrew.
As touching the law, a Pharisee.
Right. As touching the law, he became a Pharisee. The Pharisee was like strict in the law. Right. So he was letting you know right there that he was studied in the law. All right. Even more than the Herodian dynasty was trying to do. All right. That was it on that. That was the point. All right. Let's get back to the story.
Right back at Acts chapter 26, verse 6. It says, and now I stand and am judged for the hope of the promise made of Yahweh unto our father.
All right, so what promise was made unto our father? Let's get Romans 4:16.
Romans chapter 4 and verse 16. Therefore, it is of faith that it might be by grace, to the end the promise might be sure to all the seed, not to that only which is of the law, but to that which is of the faith of Abraham.
Yeah, that's what Paul was saying. Paul was saying, we kept the law, but not only the ones that were keeping the law, but also the Israelites that don't know the law. They were called what? Gentiles. All right, go ahead.
Who is the father of us all?
That was it. Now we're going to go over 25. Acts 13:26.
Yes.
Right, because this is what was preached, man. And Paul said he's standing for that same hope in Yahweh, man, in Yahweh Shai. And they want to kill him for that.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 13, verse 26. Men and brethren, children of the stock of Abraham, and whosoever among you feareth Yahweh, to you is the word of the salvation sent, of this salvation sent.
Ooh, so the stock of Abraham, right? So the word of salvation was sent to us. Right?
But they that dwell at Jerusalem and their rulers, because they knew him not, nor yet the voices of the prophets, which are read every Sabbath day, they have fulfilled them in condemning him.
Right, man, because he said all those at Jerusalem, who was there? That was known as the Sanhedrin. That was known as the Pharisees. Right? They were the ones at Jerusalem. But a lot of them were going off. They didn't know the truth, spiritual truth. They didn't have the spirit of the Lord. All right, one more verse, maybe. I think that was it.
And though they found no cause of death in him, yet desired they Pilate that he should be slain.
Right, so they did the same thing to Yahweh. All right, they did the same thing to Yahweh, man. That's what Paul was saying. That it greater than the law has appeared. And, that's just it, man. So let's get back to where we were, verse 7. I'm moving a little fast now.
Back at Acts 26 and verse 7, it says, unto which promise our 12 tribes instantly serving Yahweh day and night, hope to come.
And that's our hope. We hope to come into the salvation, man. I promise you. And be resurrected, as a nation as well from our dead state. Somebody get Romans 9:1 over 5. He didn't say 13. Instantly, our 12 tribes. Right there. 12 gates. Right?
Instantly serving Yahweh day and night.
Right.
Hope to come. For which hope say King Agrippa, I am accused of the Jews.
There you go, man. All right, so he was being accused of bringing this hope to his people, the Israelites, 12 tribes. That salvation is for them, and the resurrection of the dead is for them, and that Yahweh is alive. And those the Jews, the Israelites, they didn't like that. All right, so he was saying, hey, Agrippa, I know you know about this, man. I know you believe me. It makes sense, don't it? That's all he was saying. He wasn't trying to convert him. You know what I mean? Right? And it made sense to Agrippa. He was like, damn, that makes sense.
Verse 8. It says, why should it be thought? Why should it be thought a thing incredible with you that Yahweh should raise the dead?
Right? What's that? You know what? Let's keep going. Read that again.
It's verse 8. It says, why should it be thought a thing incredible with you that Yahweh should raise the dead?
Right, so they didn't believe that the Most High could raise the dead. That's what the whole thing was about. All right, that's what it was about. Not trying to make Agrippa into an Israelite. All right, it was against the belief whether the Lord could raise the dead or not, whether Yahweh was alive. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 9. It says, I verily thought with myself that I ought to do many things contrary to the name of Yahweh of Nazareth.
Right, so Paul was saying when he was in the world, he was a Pharisee, calling himself an Israelite, a Jew, and he would have went against. He was always against Yahweh.
Verse 10. Which thing I also did in Jerusalem, and many of the saints that I shut up in prison.
Right, see, Paul was working for the Sanhedrin. The Sanhedrin started going way back to 168 BC, when the Greeks Hellenized our people. Right, under Antiochus Epiphanes. When they Hellenized us, then you had the Pharisees and the Sadducees, which was established at that time. The Sadducees, they took on customs of the Greeks, right, and kept that into their belief. The Pharisees, they took on the custom saying they're going to kill anybody that breaks the law.
Then it says, which thing I also did in Jerusalem, and many of the saints did it I shut up in prison, having received authority from the chief priest.
He received authority to do that from the chief priest at that time, which was the high priest. All right, Sanhedrin, go ahead.
And when they were put to death, I gave my voice against them.
All right, so even when they were put to death, he was against them. Except for when it came to Stephen. When they threw Stephen's garment at Paul's feet.
Verse 11. It says, and I punished them all in every synagogue and compelled them to blaspheme, and to blaspheme, and being exceedingly mad against them.
Right. So yeah, man. So he basically saying, yo, I was willing to. Paul was saying, yo, he was willing to go to the point of killing an Israelite that believed in the Messiah, that believed that the Messiah would raise from the dead. But now all of a sudden he believes. He's like, yo, y'all don't get this? Like, look at me, I'm a believer, man. I'm changed. You know, he was trying to tell them that.
It says, I persecuted them even unto strange cities. Whereupon, as I went to Damascus with authority, commissioned the chief priest. Verse 12. Verse 13. It says, at midday, O king, I saw in the way a light from heaven.
Right, so Paul's basically explaining when Yahweh approached him. All right, when Yahweh approached him on the way to Damascus, he's explaining that. Right, it's cool. You talk over it all you want. America's still gonna be destroyed. Can't run from it. Go ahead, man.
Verse 13 says, at midday, O king,
I saw in the way a light from heaven above the brightness of the sun.
Right. So he was explaining this to King Agrippa. Right.
Shining round about me.
Right. So you see that? Can you imagine that? A bright light shining around you in a circle? That's what Paul saw. All right. So when you read that story of what happened to Paul when the Lord came to visit him, you don't really hear it in detail like that. He said a bright light shined around him, you know, brighter than the sun. Right?
It says, and them which journeyed with me. I'm gonna start. Verse 13, it says, at the midday, O king, I saw in the way a light from heaven above the brightness of the sun, shining round about me, and them which journeyed with me. And when we were all fallen to the earth, I heard a voice speaking unto me and saying in the Hebrew tongue.
Saying in what?
Saying in the Hebrew tongue.
Right. It wasn't in English. It wasn't in Greek. It was saying in the Hebrew tongue. So the Lord was speaking Hebrew from heaven. Right? In the Hebrew tongue, he said Yahushua. He didn't say no Jesus. Right?
It says, Saul, 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 why persecutest thou me?
Right. So he said, Shawal, Shawal, why persecutest thou me? All right.
It is who art thou, Lord?
Right. So he was saying, Paul, you kicking against the pricks, you're going against your own people. You're basically hurting yourself. All right. Come against you. He was going against Yahushua by persecuting his own people. He said, yo, you're kicking against the pricks. You hurt yourself.
Verse 15, it says, and I said, who art thou, Lord? And he said, I am Yahushua, whom thou persecutest.
By persecuting the people, they're persecuting the Lord. So when they come at us, they're basically persecuting the Lord. People persecute you in your job, just know that they're persecuting Yahushua. Your personal life too. Come on, brother.
Verse 16, it says, but rise and stand upon thy feet, for I have appeared unto thee for this purpose, to make thee a minister and a witness.
Right, so this is Paul explaining how he became a minister. He's explaining to Agrippa why he got set out on this journey to go teach. Going around to all these different places, teaching in the name of Yahushua, of his belief and of his hope. And the reason why they were persecuted. All right, go ahead.
Fine. It says to make thee a minister and a witness, both of these things which thou hast seen, and of those things in the which I will appear unto thee.
Right, but somebody can say he's lying. You can't put him in jail for that. You know, they can disagree, but they can't put him in jail or put him to death. That's what they wanted to do.
Verse 17, it says, delivering thee from the people and from the Gentiles, unto whom now I send thee, to open their eyes and to turn them from darkness to light, and from the power of Satan unto Yahweh.
Right, right. So that's what Paul was set up for, to wake our people up, call them back from being Greeks and Romans, you know, the ones that call themselves Jews, to wake them up to a further truth, a further wisdom of understanding about Yahushua, testimony, salvation, and resurrection. Okay?
That they may receive for forgiveness of sins and inheritance among them which are sanctified by faith that is in me. Whereupon, O King Agrippa, I was not disobedient unto the heavenly vision.
Yeah, so he was saying, yo, I followed the vision, man. I followed what the Lord told me to do. And now I'm standing in front of you, Agrippa, and they want to kill me for my belief. My belief that makes sense. Doesn't it, Agrippa? Doesn't that make sense? That's all he was saying. Right?
Verse 20. But show first unto them of Damascus and at Jerusalem and throughout all the coast of Judea and then to the Gentiles.
Right. See that? So he showed to his people that were in Jerusalem, in Judea, and Damascus that called themselves Israelites. that knew they were Jews, and he also went to the Israelite foreigners that were scattered. All right.
That they should repent and turn to Yahweh and do works meet for repentance.
Right. It's only for the Israelites to be able to repent.
For these causes, the Jews caught me in the temple and went about to kill me.
Yeah. He's saying, yo, they want to kill me for that. This Paul talking to Agrippa. All right, Agrippa the second. Right.
Verse 22, having therefore obtained help of Yahweh, I continue unto this day.
Right, man. See, and all those stories about Paul being in prison, getting free from the prison shaking, you know, Paul being delivered from the snake that bit him being delivered from animals that they had been fighting, you know, all kinds of stuff. All those stories got back to Agrippa. Because everything's documented in the Roman Empire, you know. They documented it, and Agrippa knew about it. Right?
It says, I continue unto this day, witnessing both to small and great.
Somebody get Romans 11 and 12. Man, we got to wake up Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. Running out of time. America about to be destroyed. And the Lord is looking for men to turn back and repent to him. His name is Yahweh. His son named Yahushua. They killed him in 37 AD. He was about to return. All right? This is how we make it out of here, man. Not gang banging, not guns. Guns ain't going to save you. The only one that can save you is the Lord. All right? All right, bro. Yeah, Romans 11 and 12.
Where's the book of Romans, chapter 11 and verse 12?
Right, bro.
Romans 11 and 12. Now, if the fall of them be the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness? For I speak to you, Gentiles.
Right. So us falling as a nation, it made those damn heathens rich. So how much more when we get risen up? How much more are they gonna be brought low? Go ahead.
For I speak to you, Gentiles, and as much as I am the apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify my office.
Right. So Paul was sent out to teach who? The Israelite Gentiles. And he magnified his office, meaning made it greater, all the way up until today. To us, to reach us, we were Gentiles, calling ourselves Americans, or Black, or Puerto Rican, or whatever, you know? Cubans, right? That was it. I think that was the point. Yeah.
Verse 14. If by any means I may provoke to emulation them which are of my flesh, and might save some of them.
Oh, so he said, don't that of his flesh. Let's get that Romans 10 real quick. So that's what he was telling Agrippa. We got on that. That was good on that. Good point. We're going to go, when you start again, Pawan, start from verse 18. Yeah. Go ahead. Romans 10 and 1.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 10, verse 1. Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to Yahweh for Israel is that
Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and Israelites, right?
Is that they might be saved.
Right. So his prayer to the Most High is that Israel might be saved, not Agrippa, not Edomite Agrippa, who was a descendant of Antipater the Edomite, the Idumean. Paul wasn't sent out to them, man. All right, go ahead. Paul admitted it. He said, my desire is that Israel is going to be saved. He didn't change his desire all of a sudden. That's okay. Go ahead.
For I have bear them of record that they have a zeal of Yahweh, but not according to knowledge.
They got a zeal, compassion for the Lord, trying to keep the laws, but not according to the knowledge. Right? They didn't understand the knowledge of the prophecies of the Lord. They didn't understand the prophecies of Yahweh. All right? That was it on that. Makes sense, right? Come on, brother. What was that? Go to 18.
And it's the book of Acts 26 and 18. It says to open their eyes and to turn them from darkness to light, and from the power of Satan unto Yahweh, that they may receive forgiveness of sins and inheritance among them which are sanctified by faith that is in me.
This is the book. You want to start out? Acts 26 and 19. Whereupon, O King Agrippa, I was not disobedient unto the heavenly vision, but showed first unto them with Damascus and at Jerusalem and throughout all the coast of Judea, and then to the Gentiles that they should repent and turn to Yahweh and do works meet for repentance. For these causes the Jews caught me in the temple and went about to kill me. Having therefore obtained help of Yahweh, I continue unto this day.
Just like us. We continue unto this day. The Lord is helping us, man. All right? He's helping to kill us every day, man.
Witnessing both to small and great, saying none other things than those which the prophets and Moses did say should come.
Right. So Paul was speaking nothing but scripture. So I was like, what's the issue? He was keeping the law, and he was speaking according to the scripture. And he wasn't breaking any Roman laws, just like us. We're keeping the laws to the best of our ability. We're speaking the scriptures the right way, and we're trying our best not to break any American laws. Same thing. So he said, obey the laws of the land. Be at peace with Yahweh and man. You know? Go ahead.
Verse 23, that Yahweh should suffer, and that he should be the first that should rise from the dead, that should show light unto the people and to the Gentiles.
Right, so Paul was breaking it down for everyone, man. He was breaking it down clear. It'd be undeniable. We can't deny it. You know, go ahead. Wait on it. Go ahead.
Verse 24, and as he that spake for himself, Festus said with a loud voice.
Right, Festus jumped up, hating. Peter might Festus like, whoa. Go ahead.
Paul, thou art beside thyself. Much learning doeth make thee mad.
He said, Paul, man. Paul, you tripping, man. You said you was a Pharisee. Now you talking about, like, what's his name? Son niggas. Lavatazar. Scoffer. Scorner. He always said, they call it a pie in the sky. He said, your pie in the sky, God, that you got. That's what Festus was doing. He said, yo, you beside yourself, man. You talking about some pie in the sky, you know?
But he said, I am not mad, most noble Festus.
Right, he was like, I ain't crazy, man. You know, this is true, go ahead.
But speak forth the words.
Right, if Paul was trying to convert Edomite, why he ain't trying to convert Festus? Really try, like, you would have got it, you know? Go ahead. Instead, Paul was like, nah, man, you don't get it. Go ahead.
But speak forth the words of truth and soberness. For the king knoweth of these things.
He's like, yo, king know. He's like, King Agrippa know. He read all that stuff.
For whom also I spake freely. For I am persuaded that none of these things are hidden from him. But this thing was not done in a corner.
It was done in the open. Everything that happened done in the open. Even with Paul, it was all done out in the open, man. And Agrippa knew about that stuff. He was like, damn. He did just change. He was capturing people and sending them to the Sanhedrin to jail. But now all of a sudden, you got caught in Rome. You got caught here, standing up for the name of the Lord. We had him in prison. Then he got freed from prison. He was teaching the next day. He knew about all that stuff. And he knew about the laws and the prophecies, man. Let's get this real quick. Ezekiel 3 and 4. Keep going, brother.
Verse 27. King Agrippa, believest thou the prophets? I know that thou believest.
Then Wait, what? I know that thou believest. So Edomite vocab would try to use that and say Paul almost converted Agrippa, and Agrippa would have been an Israelite. No, we read it. Agrippa was a nominal Jew. He would never be an Israelite. Insignificant, man. All right? So just because they read our books, that don't mean anything. Let's get that. Ezekiel 3 and 4.
Ezekiel chapter 3 and verse 4. And he said unto me, Son of man, go, get thee unto the house of Israel, and speak with my words unto them. For thou art not sent to a people of a strange speech and of a hard language, but to the house of Israel.
Right. So he was sent to his people, even in Gentile form, being foreign. Paul was sent to his own people. Right? Just like Ezekiel.
Verse 6. Not to many of a strange speech and of a hard language, whose words thou canst not understand, surely had I sent thee to them that would have hearkened unto thee. But the house of Israel would not hearken unto thee.
Give me that again. Right before that.
Verse 6. Not to many people of a strange speech and of a hard language, whose words thou canst not understand, surely had I not sent thee to them, they would have hearkened unto thee.
Right, man. So surely, what?
Surely had I sent thee to them, they would have hearkened unto thee.
Right, man. If the Lord would have sent Paul to, what's his name? Agrippa. Agrippa can easily say, yeah, I believe it, if it makes sense. He can send you to a Chinese man. If it makes sense, they're going to say, I believe you. But that don't mean they got access to being an Israelite. That don't make them an Israelite all of a sudden. That don't mean you converted them. You know what I'm saying? See, vocab is trying to play tricks on people, man. That fast talking and shit. You got to really look into what he's saying, man, before you debate it. Slow him down. Yeah. Right, because there's no new thing under the sun that to walk up to an Edomite and say, hey, there's a Messiah, and they be like, okay. There's no shock in that. That don't make them an Israelite. You know what I'm saying? You got Edomites that believe that today. Go ahead, brother. They said what? He said, if he's sending to them, surely they'll hear you. But Jake ain't going to listen. And they weren't listening back then. They were trying to kill Paul. All right? But who listened? The other nation? Agrippa? Greg?
This is back at Acts 25, 26, verse 28.
Psalm 50 and 16.
Then Agrippa said unto Paul, almost thou persuadest me to be a Christian.
Right. So there you go. See, that's why vocab mess up too. He said, thou almost persuaded me to be a Christian. See, Christian is not a denomination. Scriptures say they were first called Christians in Antioch, Paul and Barnabas. Why were they called that? They were called that in a derogatory way, saying that they were followers of the Messiah. That's it. So, what's his name? Agrippa was saying, yo, shit, you made me almost want to follow him. Like, you know, he already following the Jewish custom. He's like, oh, y'all got something better? That's all he's saying. He's like, yo, it just makes sense, man. But it still didn't happen. It still didn't happen, man. He still didn't believe. All right, go ahead.
And Paul said, I would to Yahweh that not only thou, but also all that hear me this day were both almost and altogether such as I am.
Right, so Paul was saying, yeah, Paul was open-minded. He was set up to teach to the Gentiles. So he was saying, yeah, I would that I could hope that you could believe, but it's not I can't make it happen. You're not an Israelite. I could try. I would that everybody would serve the Lord. That's what, we want everybody to worship Yahweh. You see that? But he said, no. But the difference is I'm in chains, you're not. See that? Right? I could wish that everybody was in bondage to the Lord the way I am. Somebody get Proverbs, Psalm 50 and 16 real quick.
The Psalm chapter 50 and verse 16.
Right, James 2 and 19.
What unto the wicked, Yahweh said, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth?
They can't do it. See that? What do you got to do with it? So what you claiming yourself a nominal Jew? So what you claim that it made sense about your Yahweh shot? Boy, you almost got me. Oh, you almost got me, boy. You almost made me a follower of the Lord. See that? Like, what do they have to do with it? They have nothing to do with it, right? Keep going. Oh, no, real quick.
Verse 17 of Psalm chapter 50. Seeing thou hatest instruction,
See?
and casted my words behind thee.
That's what Agrippa did. He hated that instruction. He cast that right behind him. He said, you almost made me a follower. Go ahead.
Verse 18. When thou sawest these thou
Oh, that was it. James 2:19.
James chapter 2 and verse 19. Thou believest that there is one God that does dwell. The devils also believe.
Read it clear.
There's the book of James chapter 2 and verse 19. Thou believest that there is one God that does dwell.
All right, we believe that. Go ahead.
The devils also believe and tremble.
Devils can believe too and tremble. That don't make them righteous. That don't make Paul trying to convert him. Paul was just trying to get out that situation. He was saying, yo, they trying to kill me for this, man. My testimony of the Howard shot. You know, go ahead. He wasn't worried about trying to convert the damn
Verse 20. But wilt thou know, O vain man, that faith without works is dead?
Right, that was it. Proverbs 16:7.
Proverbs 16:7. When a man's ways please the Lord, Yahweh Shai, maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him.
See, Paul's enemies even became at peace with him, man. We've sat out here and talked to police before. They wanted to lock us up real fast downtown. And I know where they'd be at peace with it. They say, yeah, it makes sense. We've taught Edomites out here that be like, it makes sense. So what? We're not trying to convert now. See that? Okay, slick one. I'm trying to tell you, man. It's slick one, man. It's slick one, right?
He's slick. Ain't slick can of oil.
Yeah, he's slick, man.
This the can of oil. He trying to slick like that. Go back to the drum.
Yeah, this the oil. This the oil. We the can. All right, let's keep going. Let's go to 28. We gotta go to 30 and 32 and wrap it up.
This is Acts 26 and 28. 26 and 28. Then Agrippa said unto Paul, almost thou persuadest me to be a Christian.
All right, they saying he already was a nominal Jew, you know. There you go. Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, be the Israelites of the Bible. La familia, that's right. Cristo no blanco.
Verse 29.
Speaking to Spanish, man.
And Paul said, I would to Yahweh that not only thou, but also all that hear me this day, were both almost and altogether such as I am, except these bonds.
There you go. See that? Paul was, who else was in the room? There was a lot of Texans. See that? He said, but except these bonds, he said, I'm the only one standing in here with chains on. So that was a cut. That was a cut to Agrippa. And that made Agrippa do this. Go ahead.
Verse 30. And when he had thus spoken, the king rose up, and the governor, and Bernice, and they that sat with him. And when they were gone aside, they talked between themselves.
Right, they was in the corner talking like this,
saying, this man doeth nothing worthy of death or of bonds. Then said Agrippa unto
that had no power up there. Right, bro.
Then Agrippa said, Agrippa unto Festus, this man might have been set at liberty.
He said walking around throwing devil signs.
If he had not appealed unto Caesar.
Right, he would have been set at liberty. He'd been set free. He wouldn't even be here that long. He ain't trying to appeal unto Caesar. No, they would have killed him. If he ain't appealed to Caesar, they would have killed him in Jerusalem. No, go ahead. That was it, right? Yeah, that was it. So yeah, man. Paul never tried to convert. Paul never tried to convert Agrippa. He was just saying in general. I would that anybody could, that hears me be like me and teach about the Lord and follow Yahweh Shai. But that's not so. And also, I'm the only one in chains, so I'm the only one really fighting. He wasn't trying to convert Agrippa, man. That wasn't his purpose. He was being persecuted for saying that Yahweh Shai was alive from the dead. He had to speak on it. They wanted to kill him in Jerusalem, so he appealed unto Caesar because he was a Roman. Paul was a Roman. He knew that. He used that as his get out of jail free card. To be able to go Caesar, be accused before the Caesar, which was Nero at the time. I think Nero was Caesar 54 BC, AD all the way to 68 when he died. All right, I think Paul died at 66. So yeah, man, that's the story dealing with Acts chapter 26, man, where Edomite demon vocab uses that to try to find a place of repentance. Somebody get that Esau son carefully with tears, 17. Right, man, going around crying to everybody.
It's Hebrews 12 and 17.
Right, you got to use a different scripture. Acts 26 is not it. That was not Paul trying to convert nobody. And at the end of the day, you got Edomites out here that believe that the Messiah exists, that a Messiah exists in the Bible. There's nothing new. That's it.
All right, this is Hebrews 12 and 16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. For he know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected.
Right, Paul knew that. Paul knew that Esau can't take part in Jacob's blessing. All right, that's why he said his desire is that Israel should be saved. Paul knew this, man. That was his desire, not that Edomites would be saved all of a sudden. That's why he was talking about other people in the room. He said, I wish y'all could all be like me, but y'all not. I'm the only one standing here in chains. Agrippa said, yeah, take him out of them chains.
It says, for he found no place of repentance, so he sought it carefully with tears.
Right, so Esau seeking it carefully with tears, carefully coming up with little tricks and schemes, trying to find a way in, man. He can't. All right? But we about to get the kingdom. We're about to rule. All right? They can't do nothing about it. You know, the heathen Agrippa, he was known for all kind of wickedness, man. All kind of treason and perversion, man. Incest, idolatry, paganism. But he was also known as a practicing nominal Jew. Let's get the word nominal again. Somebody pull it up one more time. We end it with that. That's all he was a nominal Jew. Low cab, Dr. Edom. Low class. Yeah. All right, this is the definition of what Herod Agrippa II, that's what he was. Not Agrippa the first, but the second. The grandson of Antipater the Idumean, the Edomite.
Definition of nominal of a role or status existing in name only.
It says nominal on the etymology online. It says pertaining to nouns from Latin nominalis, to like pertaining to name or names. That's what it means. Got another definition of nominal means is insignificantly small, a matter of form only, tokenish.
A matter of form only. Right? So Herod Agrippa was a nominal Jew. He was in the form of it only. That's it. He was acting like a Jew. Jewish, yep. Like the ones today.
Existing in name only.
Existing in name only. All right, and that's all they'll ever do is exist in name only. You know? But the Lord said, what? Revelation 2 and 9. I know the blasphemy of them that say they are Jews and are not. They're truly the synagogue of Satan. All right? And they have no place, no part in our blessing that was given to Jacob, 12 tribes of Israel. All right? So there's no way around it. Can't get over it. Can't get under it. You know? That's just it. We're going to end it there. Everybody got a quick look? All right, we're going to end it there, man. All right, let's end it there, man. Hope this was edifying. A lot of reading, but still, just got to do that sometimes to get the point, to get the context. All right, so we're going to end it there. We're going to say, call, Allah, Yahweh,
Oh,
Yes, I do have a question.